Yeah, so welcome everyone to an evening with Winona LaDuke. As Executive Director of Sustainable Woodstock and on behalf of our board and the co-host for this event, Pentangle Arts, I'd like to say how excited and delighted we are to bring you this inspirational presentation about the rights of nature, one of the most critical considerations that underlies and defines our relationship to the environment. Let us begin this evening by honoring the Abenaki peoples and their homeland in Akiing, this beautiful environment that we all love, and which is here because of the wisdom and stewardship of the Abenaki and their ancestors, whose deep roots reach back more than 11,000 years. Our sincere thanks to the Vermont Humanities, whose support helped to make this event possible. We would also like to thank Keisha Baylock for her assistance with scheduling and planning this Earth Day program. A few brief notes about scheduling and questions this evening. We will be recording the event and sending a link to everyone who registered. Winona LaDuke's presentation will run to about 6:45, and then we will host a live question and answer session from about 6:45 to about 7:10. If you have a question that you would like to ask Winona at any time, please type it into the chat. Following presentation, myself and Sustainable Woodstock's program coordinator, Ginevra Wetmore, will present questions in the order they were received. So thank you again for joining us, and it's my honor to introduce Winona LaDuke. Winona is a Harvard-educated economist, author, activist, hemp farmer, grandmother, and a two-time former Green Party vice presidential candidate with Ralph Nader. Winona specializes in rural development, sustainable economics, food and energy sovereignty, and environmental justice. She is also an international thought leader and lecturer on climate justice and renewable energy, and an advocate for protecting indigenous plants and heritage foods from patenting and genetic engineering. She lives and works on the White Earth Reservation in northern Minnesota and leads several organizations, including Honor the Earth, which she co-founded with the Indigo Girls 28 years ago, the Anishinaabe Agriculture Institute, Akiing, and Winonas Hemp. These organizations develop and model cultural-based sustainable development strategies utilizing renewable energy and sustainable food systems. Winona's 7 books include The Militarization of Indian Country, Recovering the Sacred, The Power of Naming and Claiming, the nonfiction book, All Our Relations, Native Struggles for Land and Life, and a novel, Last Standing Woman. Her new book, To Be a Water Protector, Rise of the Windigo Slayers, is an expansive, provocative engagement with issues that have been central to her many years of activism, including 7 years battling Line 3, an Enbridge tar sands oil pipeline in northern Minnesota. And now, Winona LaDuke.
Anin, Ndinoe Maganito, hello, my relatives. Very nice to see you all here in this virtual way, but very nice to see your faces, those who I can see, and the rest of you, my greetings to you. Inda Kingamin, I was listening to the language there that the Wabanaki people, the people of the East, the Penobscots, the Wampanoags, they speak our language. We're the same people. We were instructed to follow a shell which appeared in the sky to the place where the food grows on the water. That's here, where there's wild rice. That's where we live, but we are the same people. We call with the land I live on, we call it Akiing. That means the land to which the people belong, Akiing. However, in Akiing, which sounds a lot like the words you use there, the very land to which the people belong, the very land to which the people belong, in Akiing. And I think that that's really the essence of, Mother Earth, is we belong to her. She don't belong to us. And that's really the lesson in the moment, is remembering that we belong to land, and we need to restore that relationship to land. That's how we are able to live. That is how we are able to survive. Our people have a lot of prophecies that about this time, and I was thinking about it as I have gone through these decades with more winters behind me than ahead of me, more winters behind than ahead. But there's a lot of people I got to be with, and I remember my father himself, he used to say there's going to be a time when there's going to be no food in the store. And I never really thought about that until COVID. And I saw there was a time when there was no food in the store. And I remember these other old guys, like we talk about the time of the seventh fire, as our prophecy. They talk about how in this time of the seventh fire, which they call this the time we're in now, the people that are here now, the Akiing Anishinaabe, we have a choice between two paths. One is well-worn and scorched, and the other is green. Our choice upon which path to embark. That's what they say. And they say that changes are going to come, and I think about it because my whole life I've been saying the same thing. And I said, well, it looks like this is the time, these are times of catastrophes of epic proportions around us. And these are the times that those prophets were talking about. The times when we must do the right thing and follow our instructions. And Earth Day is a time to remember what it is the right thing to do. So let us start to remember that. I am Akiing. I live in Dunjaba, Akiing. I live here on the very land to which I belong. I'm up here on the White Earth Reservation in northern Minnesota, and this is a time of greatness. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about us as water protectors. All right, I'm going to make a leap of faith. You can see that. Can you see this PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I have done something correctly. This is a water protector. I'm a water protector. This woman is not missing and murdered, and she's not disappearing anytime soon. She's about 30 feet wide and 40 feet tall in downtown Duluth on 2nd Street and 2nd Avenue. She's a water protector. And this is the movement that I'm a part of, the water protector movement. This is the movement that all of us are part of. Or we're hoping we are, because to be a water protector is a thing to be in a planet that needs water. But when I think about the challenges we're in, I like to think about when America was great. And America was great when there was 10,000 varieties of corn. That's when America was great, when there was tremendous agro-biodiversity. Now, this is some of the corn varieties, and I just want to point out that corn doesn't exist in nature. Corn exists only as teosinte in nature, which is a grass, kind of like that guy you see in the middle. And so these corn varieties were bred by people who look like me, Indigenous women largely bred these corn varieties to 10,000 varieties of corn, with everything from popcorn to flint corn to sweet corn. But the point is that what the Irish potato famine taught us is that agrobiodiversity is what you want, not a monocrop. And the other thing is that I want to, sometimes I think I don't like humans very much, because we're kind of like the T-Rexes of the world. I think, oh, but we made corn. Look at that. We made corn. We make some good music, beautiful art. America was great when there's 50 million buffalo. Single largest migratory herd is the herd that, was over the single largest biome in North America. And today, and those buffalo could live without any fossil fuels. Today, same area, there's about 48 million cattle, and they need all kind of fossil fuels to keep going. So America was great when there was buffalo. That's when America was great. It was great when passenger pigeons darkened the skies, and when you could drink water from every stream and river. I want to say that because I think a lot of people have amnesia, historic amnesia and ecological amnesia. And this is wild rice, Monoman. This is my reservation. This is Lower Rice Lake. And this is Don Goodwin and I, another water protector, looking at our beautiful rice, which we harvested for 10,000 years in succession. That's what a sustainable way of life looks like. So, my way of life's been in conflict for a long time with this American way of life. Sitting Bull and Custer. Maybe this is, the picture of before, but it's certainly the picture of now. We were told that in the time of the seventh fire, we'd have a choice between two paths. One well-worn and scorched, and the other green. Well, we've been on the scorched path pretty well, and this is what it looks like. Look, things are getting worse. You got fires to the west. You got polar ice caps melting to the north. You've got what looks like insurrection to the east. And you have disasters of equal proportions in terms of hurricanes to the south. And then you have a pandemic. I'd go with that we're in times of catastrophes of biblical proportions. But I like what Arundhati Roy says. She's an Indian writer. great Indian writer, she talks about a pandemic as portal. She says in the history of the world, pandemics have always forced societies to change. This one is no different. It's a portal between one world and the next. And, that's the truth. We were just cruising away on speed, with our speedometers all going pretty fast. And then all of a sudden we hit a pandemic and everybody had a lot of ideas, but nothing worked. People got killed. And so we all stayed home. We had to slow ourselves down. And what happened when we slowed down? Well, a bunch of people started gardening. Like quintupled the amount of people gardening, quadrupled it. A lot of people had to figure out what was of value to them. A lot of people had their kids at home and they hung out with their kids instead of sending their kids off to school. And a lot of people decided that they actually didn't want to go work in their old job when they got out of it. The rate quit. I said, you know what's life worth? So we changed. And in the meantime, I just saw the same thing you did. In the course of my life, I never thought I would see 44 statues of Columbus fall in the course of a year. Right? All them statues, with the awakening of George Floyd, all them statues fell. So did a bunch of conquistadors and, Confederates, and hey, the Washington Redskins even changed their name. That's what I'm saying. Social movements surged. So I say, keep on going. Keep going. That's how change is made. Well, this is the story I've been living for the past 8 years. This is Standing Rock in 2016. So, look, I'm a fossil fuel addict. I don't know about y'all, but I'm just going to own it. I'm an addict. I've been living in the fossil fuel world for my whole adult life. Gone and driving movies, got water from Fiji, all kind of stuff. And look, this is what you get. They jacked us up on fossil fuels, and so now, our society is super heavily rigged to buy oil. And the problem with being an addict, we're basically structurally addicted to oil. The problem with being an addict is that addicts make bad decisions. The other thing is that dealers shouldn't make public policy. That's what this looks like. $38 million of military repression on some water protectors in North Dakota. 2016, $38 million military repression. That's surplus military equipment coming in there on civilian populations, right? That's all kind of mess. Private security, people lose eyes, hands blown apart. What? To protect an oil company's right to pollute the water. This is what it was all about. Dakota Access Pipeline. Look, first pipeline route was supposed to be north of Bismarck. Oh, that city's 95% white. We wouldn't want to put a pipeline there. No, we want to put it down by the Indian people who don't have adequate infrastructure, have far more water liability, people who have, 5 times more hospital needs and 1/5 the hospital. People who don't have roads that fall apart. We should just put it down there where those people are. That's what Standing Rock was about, and the price was high. But they didn't end there. This is what I spent the last 8 years doing too. Enbridge. Who's Enbridge? Canadian corporation, third largest corporation in Canada, pushes tar sands pipelines. 75% of the tar sands that comes into the United States comes in from Enbridge through their Enbridge pipes. This is line 3, we felt like after Kalamazoo, somebody should take a look at these guys, but no, they just shoved a pipeline down our throat. We fought them. I went to every regulatory hearing. I, along with 68,000 other people, testified. We try to stop this pipeline, but I believe the term is regulatory capture. That's what they call it, regulatory capture. When corporations own your systems, own your legal, judicial, regulatory systems, owned, So we all stood, put our bodies on the line. 1,000 people got arrested. This is my arrest, This is my arrest, or one of them. I've got charges in 3 counties. I'm arrested here on the Shell River. I live right by the Shell River. My grandchildren behind me. This is arrested for protecting the Shell River from Enbridge, a Canadian multinational, arrested sitting on public lands, given away to Enbridge, the Canadian multinational, with 6 other women. Shell River 7. Shell River 7. I was at court today. Went to a hearing in Park Rapids. 1,000 people charged. And in Minnesota, they didn't even decide that they wanted to, they didn't want to get $38 million worth of expenses. So they just had Enbridge pay for the police. Wait, let me just say this one more time. A Canadian multinational paid for the police to put in their pipeline. Foreign corporation paid for the police in Minnesota. Incentivized, arrested, spent $7 million racking it up, charging us. I think there's got to be something really wrong with a foreign corporation buying your police force. I think it's really wrong. You know, I think that they should prosecute Enbridge that stole 5 billion gallons of water, fracked 27 rivers, and burst 3 of our aquifers. They should be the criminals, not me. But I still face charges. You know, all of us do. 1,000 people face charges from this. That's messed up. But our problem isn't just our problem. Look, here's Enbridge. Here they go over through Wisconsin, over there in Michigan, Straits of Mackinac. You know, what this is a multinational corporation holding 1/5 of the world's water hostage. Let me just be clear about this. That's what that is. Aging fossil fuel pipelines. I mean, look, at the end of the fossil fuel era, a lot of you are my age. It's the end of the party. Stuff falls apart. This is a refinery blowing up in Superior, Wisconsin. Stuff falls apart. So what we want is a graceful transition out. That's what we want. We want to move along. All right, take a breath. I just had to run through all that. That's my life. Very stressful, but things are getting better. I just took a bunch of visitors on a tour of our solar thermal panel manufacturing facility and our hemp farm. Let's look at what we're doing up here. Look, it's Earth Day. Happy Earth Day to all of you. Every day is Earth Day. This is what we think the future should look like. Our instructions talk about a path where you have a choice between 2 paths, one well-worn and scorched, the other green. We're taking the green path. And you could call it, you know, Biden's Build Back Better, kind of a weak form of it. Or maybe, you know, there's like the Marshall Plan or the Green New Deal. I call it the Sitting Bull Plan, because Sitting Bull, the great political leader, said many things, but one thing he said is, let us put our minds together to see what kind of future we can make for our children. Let us put our minds together, see what kind of future we can make for our children. That's it. You know, there's not one person going to save you. All got to work together. Got to put our minds together. Different people have different skills. You know, be the people that put your minds together, good hearts and your good work, and make something good. So let me talk about my community. This is me and my grandson, Ande Goons. We're harvesting wild rice on a lake, Shell Lake, right up from the Shell River where I got arrested. They harvest that rice in the same place that my ancestors did for 10,000 years. You know, that's all I want to do. And the thing is that we live where the biodiversity is. You got to keep the biodiversity to protect Mother Earth. Got to protect the wild things. So, you know, Native people, we're not much of the population. We're about 4% of the world's population, but we're about 75% of the world's biodiversity. So that's why this is super important. Protect the wild things. We're the headwaters of the rivers. This is my farm. I didn't go see these guys yet. I'll see them after I visit with you. All right. During the pandemic, my grandchildren and all their friends moved in with me. School closed down. Granny had horses. Here we are. Here we are in the house. So that little girl next to me, that's my granddaughter Lillian. That big guy behind me that's who's sitting on the truck. That's Guy Waden, my oldest grandson. Then there's Josh over there on the other side of the truck. And then these other guys are from Red Lake and a Sisseton reservation. Anyway, you know, I had a bunch of 15-year-olds move in with me on a farm full of horses and food. So that changed me, you know. And this is my girl team. We're really interested in post-petroleum agriculture. Why am I saying that? Because most agriculture is post-petroleum. Most agriculture is pre-petroleum. That's all kind of new, putting all that stuff that ends with "side" on it. You know, I've been looking at fertilizer. I mean, that's some explosive stuff. Like, I'm thinking Oklahoma City bombing, that was fertilizer. I'm like, what are we doing? What if we like went back to manure? What if we went back to smaller scaled agriculture. You know, I think up there in Woodstock, you guys got a lot of this stuff. You know, so we're horse farmers. There's our putting in a field. You can see my ponytail, literally, right? Putting in some corn, a lot of horse-drawn agriculture. And I'm really interested in getting the fossil fuels out of my agriculture system. We grow corn, beans, squash, potatoes, Jerusalem artichokes, tobacco, bunch of like tomatoes and goods like that. And then we grow hemp. Here we are, the hemp part. This is my hemp farm. Now, just to be clear, I can't grow anything with THC in it. I've been growing for 6 years, this is my 7th year. I've been growing for 7 years with the Minnesota state permit, and I have a federal permit. This is what I grow fiber hemp. And I'm interested in fiber hemp because the word canvas comes from cannabis. The word canvas comes from cannabis. You all hear me? And so what's that mean? All those sales, all that stuff that everybody uses, that's all hemp. You know, hemp is 3 times the tensile strength of cotton and can replace basically all the trees that we're using for a lot of our construction and certainly all our paper. And it's non-toxic and it doesn't like water. It's not water dependent. But, you know, a lot of people are preoccupied with the legalization of cannabis, and I'm a supporter 100% of legalization of cannabis, but the new green revolution is in hemp. And this is what I mean. So look, here you go. Cotton. Now today I'm wearing mostly cotton. Sometimes I wear my little hemp outfit, but I forgot. But see what I got here for my hemp goodies. Oh, I have some right here. This is cotton is 24% of the world's agricultural chemicals and 4% of the world's agriculture and a huge amount of water. That sounds like a really bad idea to grow that, you know, but now we make most of our clothing out of, you guessed it, oil, polyester, nylon, all that stuff. And we don't even make it here. We don't make anything in this country. We offshored all of our textile industry to China and Asia, you know, so it's an opportunity to rebuild a hemp economy or, you know, a textile economy. And then the same thing with trees and for things. Hold on a second here. I'll show you. Behold, she has brought some props. Check this out. This is the next picture, but no, it's not. This is hemp insulation. Do you see that? See how it doesn't bother my face like fiberglass? Can you see that? This is green building, R28 value. This is a Dene or Navajo rug with hemp fiber. Hemp and churro wool, and there you can make batteries out of it. Did I mention that? Because hemp sequesters carbon in a huge rate. Because when it grows 10 feet tall or 8 feet tall, it has to suck down an immense amount of carbon. And when it sucks down all that carbon into its body, it sequesters carbon in it, which is why you want to make things like Hempcrete out of it, because as opposed to concrete, hemp sequesters carbon. Carbon is not sequestered in concrete. Concrete exudes carbon. The making of concrete is carbon intensive. The growing, it sends out carbon. This stuff brings it in. And then when it grows really tall, it also puts that carbon in its stem. And when you burn it into a biochar, you can make battery parts out of it. Anyway, we call this the new green revolution. That's my, you know, I was raised in the shadow of the green revolution. That'd be industrial agriculture. We think this is the new green revolution. This is my 1960s picture that was taken a couple of years ago. My halter dress. This is my village. My village is, you know, 50-year-old HUD housing project built in the Johnson administration. So we've been painting it up and putting murals all over it. And putting solar panels on it. We build solar thermal panels, reduce your heating bill by about 20%. And then this is some water crystals. I like to talk about this because I didn't really think about that water all looked different from different places, and it's always symmetrical and they all look like snowflakes. Well, anyway, when they get messed up with pollution, they don't look so symmetrical or beautiful anymore. But if you pray, you can bring life back to water. And so I always like to remember that, because you have to keep a good heart and pray hard. There's a lot of healing in that process. And so always believe in and love things up. Love your Mother Earth. Then this is when Indigenous teachings become law. You know, in our teachings as Indigenous people, we're told to take care of our relatives, whether they have wings or fins or roots or paws. They're relatives. In our teachings, we're taught, it's called Indigenous Laws, we are all related. Gitchi Tabwe, the great law. You know, in our teachings, we are taught to be grateful for everything we take and don't take more than you need and leave the rest. In our teachings, we're taught to consider the impact upon, you know, of what we're doing on generations ahead. They say on the 7th generation from now, consider the impact of what we do on the 7th generation from now. And in our teachings, we know in Akiing Amen, we belong to this land. In Akiing Amen. This is in 2008, Ecuador, country of Ecuador, reaffirmed the rights of Pachamama, the rights of nature, as a part of their constitution. In 2010, the rights of nature were enshrined in the Bolivian constitution. And I say that because the Bolivian president, Evo Morales, after Hugo Chavez, is the second indigenous leader of a South American country. You know, he's an indigenous thinker. The Aotearoa, New Zealand, reaffirmed the rights of the Wanganui River in 2016, I believe it was, recognizing the right of that river to exist. And in 2019, my Anishinaabe tribe reaffirmed the rights of wild rice to exist, rights to be genetically diverse, not genetically contaminated, rights to flourish, rights to reproduction, rights to return. And Ecuador, this picture's from Ecuador. In December of last year, the Ecuadorian Constitutional Court reaffirmed the rights of nature, overturning the rights of a Canadian multinational mining company and an Ecuadorian mining company to mine in a protected area in Ecuador. One nation upheld the rights of Mother Earth over the rights of corporations. And to me, essentially and fundamentally, the rights of Mother Earth need to be enshrined. In the United States, the rights of corporations are considered natural persons under the law, considered to have rights like you and I. But a corporation isn't a person. If a corporation was a person, it would have a soul. Corporation is not a person, but Mother Earth, she should have rights. So, you know, that is the work we have. These women, these are my retirement plan. I laugh because I don't know what my 401k is going to be worth. I don't even know if I'm going to have a 401k by the time I am ready to rest up. But these women are my retirement plan. Try to raise a generation of good thinking, good-hearted women, young men. Do that. You'll be, you know, your retirement will go easier when you want to rest up. That's my retirement plan. So take care of your next generation, because they're our life, you know. And there's our organization, Honor the Earth. That's where you can find us, find me. But I'll stop there, and I'm happy to open up for some questions. But thank you again.
Thank you so much for that presentation. We've had questions coming in while you've been talking in the chat. So myself, I'm Ginevra, I'm the program coordinator of Sustainable Woodstock, and Michael Caduto, our director, are going to pose those questions from the chat, and feel free to keep entering them as we go. So I'll just go ahead and get started here, Michael. I think the first question is from Lizzie. We are engaging in rights of nature and nonviolent civil disobedience against fossil fuels and diverse strategies for system change. As an economist, which alternatives to GDP do you advise be used to reflect reality and help transition towards equitable degrowth of the global north?
You know, this Minobamata principles, I think that's what we should call them. It's kind of like gross national happiness indexing. That's what you need. You know, I think that a lot of us know that when you look around there, money can't buy you love. And most, these guys aren't so happy. That's just the truth. America's not a particularly happy place, but people deserve, basic dignity, treat with respect, clean water, clean air. And, in my community, this term Minobamata is the good life. And basically the values of the good life are kind of what I've already espoused to, be thoughtful of others and care for Mother Earth intergenerationally, but those are translated into constructs or concepts like, if you want to say to consider the implications of your decision on 7th generation from now, you could call that the precautionary principle. That's a term that has been used by policymakers, right? If you want to say, or intergenerational equity, that is another term, that there needs to be fairness for the generations that are not yet arrived, or interspecies equity, Indinaway Muganatuk, that our relatives have wings and fins and roots and paws. And now we are watching the death of many of our relatives, acting as if, we will be so lonely if we lose them all. That is why we work to keep our butterflies, right? Because we know the value and the beauty of the world that is around us. So that quality of life is necessarily also tied to quality of relationship to Mother Earth, because that is how we live. So I believe that, Minobamata principle, or, which is, in kind of a broader terms, that's gross national happiness indexing, as seen by, Costa Rica or Vanuatu. And I was in Vanuatu once. It's a small island in the Pacific. They're Melanesians. I could see why they were happy. Seemed like a pretty happy place to live, but they didn't import anything because things came from too far away. So they made beer and then they refilled it there. They grew their own food, right? They had to have a local economy. There was not a place to send people, and so they made sure people had health and were fed. Their elders didn't go someplace else. They had an extended family grandma house. And so their quality of life indicators were much higher than, many Americans. I think that, so that's a kind of, gross national happiness indexing. But their environment was also very clean, They could eat everything from around them.
Thank you.
What's this? What's your favorite cultural dish and snack from Kendra here? Okay, So I had some smoked eel, Kendra, over the top, right? I mean, I have to say, and then I like smoked salmon too, very good. I'm kind of in the meat, I'm in the high protein categories. I'm wild rice, of course, very good, very good. Culturally based dish. All kind of, oh, maple sugar. Did I mention? So you guys are in Vermont. Are you guys still sugaring out there?
Yes, we do.
Just a
Yeah,
bit.
our sugar season is still going. This is a very long season. It was intermittent. How was yours? Are you guys still making syrup out there?
No,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
pretty much over now.
Oh, in general, yeah, but the season's over now.
Is it? Yeah, we're still making sugar.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
culturally based snacks, maple sugar. I mean, maple syrup. Come on. That's the good stuff, right? Right.
thank you. The next question is, how do we grow biodiverse regenerative plants on a grand scale?
I've come to believe that small is beautiful, with lots of people working. I think that you guys are in New York. You've been thinking about all this stuff a long time. There's this idea of rebuilding, a lot more sustainable local economies, right? That's what you really need to do, but that's restoring them. So, but you just need a lot of them, because there's a relationship that changes at a certain volume. They say, the economies of scale argument actually is not accurate, because that creates a whole bunch of diseconomies and externalities that they don't account for, and nobody is accountable for, because they just like offload the carbon and offload all the manure from their factory farms onto the watershed. Everybody here knows what I'm talking about. So I guess that my observation is small is beautiful, and a reasonable size needs to be made, and you need to create this set of relations that our ancestors had, and a lot of your ancestors had, that were when we were all working good together, or people were working good together, where you traded, and I think that, so you got to organize at that scale. That's what we're doing up here. Now you can see, like, we're growing hemp, but actually what I'm interested in doing is, and we're working on, is growing an intertribal, like a regional hemp cooperative. Because if you're going to try to, I could grow, a little hemp here. This is some of my hemp. And, this is some of my hemp. And I could make some cool little doilies and knickknacks and sell them for a pile of money, but that's not going to change the world. No, you need a lot of this, right? You need to do housing, you need to do insulation, and you need to do textiles, you need to do oils, right? You understand what I'm saying? And that's a lot of people. And so I don't know if the farms are, 100 acres, or, some people might be able to go for larger scale 300 acres farms, but you just need to keep organizing. And then you also got to rebuild your food economies. But I'm not telling you anything y'all don't know. I mean, we all know that they deconstructed the local food economies, whether the meat economy or the dairy economy or the textile economy or the grain economy, and now this is a very mischievous cat who hasn't seen me for a while, and so he decided he had to make an appearance. So we need to rebuild those local milling opportunities, and I mean, everybody looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy, for crying out loud. We need to quit looking like the Pillsbury Doughboy, and rebuild food systems where people are healthy. So here in Minnesota, I don't know what your situation's like, but in Minnesota we have 200,000 Somalis. Did y'all hear me? 200,000 Somalis. Now, what is the favorite food of a Somali person who's eating meat? Oh, that'd be goat. And where do those goats come from right now? Oh, that's right, they come from New Zealand. So what's the carbon footprint of the goats for the Somali people? Y'all following my thinking on this, right? So anyway, we started raising some goats. We're going to raise some more goats, but you need to build a local food economy that reflects the taste of the people that live there, not the people they imagine live there, right? And in the meantime, besides producing some goat meat and such things, I'm all in favor of the cheese economy, right? Or the goat. You know what I'm saying is like, build local economies that reflect the cultural diversity of the community who lives there. And figure out everything from I'm going to try to grow kernza this year. I don't know if any of you have heard about that. That's like perennialized wheat. I'm gonna try to grow some of that this year. Anyway, do you guys hear how excited I am about all this farming stuff?
Yes, it's great.
Yeah.
I have another hemp related question for you. Darla wonders if hemp could be used to make toilet paper instead of trees. She's always wondered.
Yeah, you could do anything with hemp. You know, I was not on the hemp bandwagon, you know, until about 7 years ago. And I mean, truly what happened was is that I had a horse slip over on me. Right? I'm just gonna tell you the truth. Horse slipped over on me. Not very good. Not the way things are supposed to be, right? I spend, you know, I'm a pretty able woman. I take a bunch of Indian medicine. They are dousing me full of painkillers, right? Y'all follow me on this? And then someone says, you should just go have a puff, LaDuke, of some marijuana. I was like, okay, I'll try that, man. I was like, perfect. You know, so my point was, is that was like, first of all, I had to like get over my like, no, I don't want to smoke herb. And then second of all of a sudden I started looking at all this stuff, and it's like anything you can do with oil, you can do with hemp. Anything, you know, my interest really is in these guys called Hemp Wood. Now I was meeting with them, and I'd like to, you know, if I had a little more bandwidth, I'd be already negotiating contract, but they're making structural wood, like OSB strand board out of hemp. They've got like a, you know, a 700 acres is what they need to grow enough for the size of the hemp wood facility they want to have. And they've been very clear they don't want to have one hemp wood facility in Kentucky. They think that it should be regional. And so we should have 3 up here or 2. Do you understand what I'm saying? And you guys have wood too, but you could grow hemp. 700 acres is enough to put up a facility. And they sticking this stuff together with like soybean glue. I don't know. I'm trying to get, I guess I'm getting in the weeds, literally. But my point is that, look, you know, you guys, there's all kind of cool stuff that should be done. And plus you can sequester carbon while you do it. That's why I'm saying this is like, you know, it bioremediates and sequesters carbon and creates an entirely new economy that doesn't exist right now. So that I don't got to fight for a scrap of the last dysfunctional economy. I'll just make a new economy. That's what we should all do. You know, that's what I started doing after the Enbridge battle. I said, I'm going to make more solar panels, grow some hemp, and I'm still going to chase you in the courts.
So the
Yes,
next
that's the
question-
same hemp wood. That's exactly it. You know, it's super interesting. I talked to those guys a few times, you know, and we actually bought some of it for our farm, but I got this hemp insulation. This is from Hempitecture. It's called hemp wool. Super interesting. Green building materials. That's what we need. And then the other thing is about Hempcrete. I was just in California. I was like, what are y'all doing? I was irritated with them. That's one privileged bunch in Sonoma County. Excuse me, those are probably your relatives. All right, look at here. I'm out there, and let me just get this right. They have all of that marijuana in California, but they can't bust up those stalks to make hempcrete. No, they can't do something like simple, like use their local product that's a waste product. You understand what I'm saying? I was like, nobody's doing hempcrete out there. I was like, I would so have busted up all that marijuana and made some buildings out of it, because you know what? Hempcrete doesn't burn. Oh, I was like, what are you guys doing? You gonna build some more stick frame houses and burn again? I just like, and they're all, you know, I mean, they were very nice to me, not to give you, but I was irritated at the lack of vision in the whole state of California. Oh my gosh, now you heard somebody crabby. My point is like, look, we have a lot of privilege. Right. Oregon State. That's right, Jeremy. That's exactly right. Oh my God, Hempitecture, I got to go order right away. Jeepers. I just ordered so much stuff from them. But see, this is why we need more of these facilities, because they're even backlogged. You know, I got 3 tiny homes that are all set up with hempcrete. Very nice. Oregon State. Yeah, they should, but they aren't, you know, they got to move it along. No, hempcrete is mixed with, someone just asked me, is hempcrete mixed with concrete cement? No, it's mixed with lime. It's mixed with lime. lime, I don't know if that's limestone or what that is. Oh, let me sit back here in my chair for a minute. Very nice to see you all. It's like sitting forward.
Global question for you.
Hmm?
What are the most important things we need to do to change in our daily lives? Where could we start?
Okay, first of all, you know yourself better than I do. How about that? Figure out what you could do. I mean, I could give you all kind of advice. Like, I'm an expert at giving advice. I could say, stay home, grow a garden. I could say, make sure that you vote. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you get politically engaged. I could say, make sure your money does the right thing. I could say, there are so many ways. And, one of my other pet projects is, of course, local power. Try to get over your addiction, for crying out loud. I've been thinking about, and I did last year, I set up a bike to power something you could plug your cell phone into. I said, let those kids power their cell phone themselves. Hook up some electric bikes to power all our gadgets, for crying out loud. Get a little bit, we'll all be slim and beautiful if we had to power our gadgets. So that's what I'm saying. So many things to do. Figure it out, what part is yours. Support little grassroots groups that are doing cool stuff up in your area. Or, support all this indigenous movement for land back. We bought this land back from Enbridge. Enbridge owned the land around my organization. What a predator those guys were? We have 40-acre little farm. They bought the 120 acres surrounding it so that they could conduct surveillance on us. When they got the pipeline in, I called up the project manager. I said, to the best of my ability, I haven't stopped you. Why don't you sell us that land? So some generous donors helped us buy that land back. I'm gonna grow hemp there. They're jerks. So help people get back land. There's so many things like that to do, right?
Yeah, thank you. And I'll include any links from your website. I see Cheryl's been posting some things on here and others from your website. So I'll include anything in my follow-up email. Deborah's asking, Winona, thank you so much. Can you speak about the status of the wild rice case?
Yes, the wild rice case is not great, but it's okay. The federal court has not ruled on whether the state has to go back to our court. Our tribal appellate court, I don't know what they were thinking, did not rule in our favor. And so we appealed the tribal appellate court's decision. And my fingers are crossed. I have no idea who those tribal appellate judges were, but obviously they went to the school of stupid, because there's all these precedents. And I just want to say that, I was like, wait, Ecuador just did this. Why did you say that? So I don't know. We're praying for the best with our tribal court. Our tribal court has said that the state of Minnesota damaged our wild rice. And that was the case. It's called Minoman versus DNR. And I witnessed it. I had a front row seat. I was in the river watching them frack it. I was in the Willow River when it fracked. I was there, I almost got arrested in the Willow River. When the Minnesota state, when Enbridge busted into an aquifer and said drilling fluid into the river, I was standing in the river. And I saw that, and I said, you guys need to prosecute Enbridge for this. And they said, if I moved out of the river, because the river is public domain, they would arrest me. I didn't commit the crime. I got charges, like I said, support your water protectors, man. We all these charges, and we shouldn't be charged. Enbridge should be charged, and we should get medals. We should get medals for protecting the water. Right?
Yeah. So the next question is one for you. How do we find out about using hemp for insulation? where do people go to find out about that?
You should just look it up online. I mean, these guys, Hempitecture, they make this. And their prices are going up. We've done a lot of promotion for them.
Yeah, actually, somebody put a link in here to your site. So
Mhm. We aren't producing this yet. This year, I'm going to try to make a couple of hemp houses. And then Hempcrete editions. And I'm going to work on my textiles. What you can do is see is that my my fiber, which looks like this, is on its way to Patagonia. Because Patagonia has been watching this, working with us for the last 2 years. And in 2023, they're going to release a small work bag with our hemp in it.
We have rights of nature questions. One person asks, do you think that rights of nature could be upheld for creatures like wolves who can't move around and do things that humans can't control? And can the rights of nature be protected under the same framework that corporations are? So,
You know, I don't know what they're going to do with the laws. This is going to take a lot of work, you know. But remember that slavery was legal. Laws are functions of society, right? Society has to change laws. And the other thing is that, I mean, I don't know how to break this to you, but the legal system that we have came from papal law. And I don't know who appointed them God. Did I say that right? I mean, our Indian people just went to the Pope, asked for an apology for the 11,000 Indian people that were in residential boarding schools in Canada that were killed by Catholics and, you know, all of the Pope's disciples. Residential school people, kids. So my point is that papal law said that Christians had more rights than non-Christians. Well, most of the world isn't Christian, and I'm not. And you can't base a legal system in my mind on that privileges Christians, when what should be privileged is nature. You know, that's what should be accounted for, because we all, in Akiing and men, we all live here. You know, I think about a long time ago, there was a treaty signed between my people and the Six Nations Iroquois Confederacy. And that treaty was called the One Dish, One Spoon Treaty. And it said that the treaty was signed in I think it was 1706 was the last time they had it signed in Montreal. And what it said is that we all live, our Mother Earth is our dish. We all eat from one dish. That's our Mother Earth. And we all, and so that dish is, in this case, they were saying we all hunt from the same place, we harvest our wild rice from the same place, we drink from the same rivers, we eat the same fish. So we all eat from one dish, the One Dish, One Spoon Treaty. The second part is the one spoon. It said that we feed each other with the spoon. That makes us relatives. Because in a lot of our ceremonies, and even in some of the Christian ceremonies, like I think like communion, everybody, I don't know, I don't want to get there, but anyway, we eat collectively. And so the point is that we're relatives and we take care of our Mother Earth collectively. And so that is a treaty between the Anishinaabe and the Six Nations. They say 500 years old, treaty, 600 years old, that we would agree to work together. You know, new treaties are out there like that, but I think that's what you need, is agreements like that. And over the past 10 years or 8 years, I've seen the rise of more treaties like that, like the Buffalo Treaty. That's signed by nations in Canada and nations in the United States and provincial governments and federal government agencies to restore buffalo to the Northern Plains. Treaty of the Salish Sea. There's a lot of opportunities to make regulatory agreements between people to do the right thing.
you. So another question is, can the rights of nature be protected under the same framework that corporations are?
I don't know.
I kind of posed that one as part
Oh,
of
did
the
you?
report.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lumped them together.
Okay. What time of year do you harvest your rice? Why?
Oh, in the fall.
Yeah.
Someone's wondering, how do you communicate to younger generations to continue your work? They're trying to develop generational small scale farming and struggling to get younger people to come from the city to communities.
You all need horses. You have horses, you get kids. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. We have a large number of horses and a large number of kids. I don't know. I can't tell y'all how to do things, but I got kids and horses. And we farm with horses. So you understand what I'm saying is it's like, this is fun.
Let's see the next question here. A lot of comments, great comments. Can the rights of nature be, I'm just going through, some of these are showing up a couple times here. U.S. Hemp Builders Association just got Hempcrete approved as a building material and will be developing standard to scale it to other industries. That's more of a statement, but
yeah, I saw that. I was very pleased, and we're working to build a hempcrete house, or a house with hempcrete for our elder in in our community to kind of show what it looks like. Super insulated home. So stay tuned. I'm very excited about that this summer. I was just talking to some guys out in Pennsylvania. We're doing like a hemp lime slurry. I don't know. That's what it looks like to me. They're blowing it in. It's insulation, and they look very interesting. They're doing some housing out here, though. No, I haven't seen the hemp longhouses of Alicia Falls. Someone should, Jeremy, why don't you tell me about that there? And then I'm gonna, oh, you direct messaged me. Sorry, you didn't tell everybody, but anyway, I'll give you my email. I can't hear you.
Oh, is he trying to talk?
Unmute.
Here,
He's asking to unmute.
there you go.
Perfect. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. So Alicia, we're doing a project in upstate New York with Hudson Hemp, and she wants to do the native hemp longhouses and use that as a material. So actually doing the growing and processing on site and building for the communities. And it's part of her work that she's doing in Haiti. But we're working with a bunch of, well, I say a bunch, several indigenous groups to try and put the collective together, but it sounds like, I don't know, it's something that if we can't be there, I'd love to share information with you. So I'll send you an email and we can talk a little bit later.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people doing cool things, and I feel like, someone just asked me how I stay hopeful. Well, first of all, I don't come from a world view that has a lot of Armageddon in it. Some people seem to come from the Armageddon worldview, reaffirmed by things like Generation X. I don't know whoever came up with that really bad name for people, but that's not what you want to do to people. Or Generation Z. I have no idea. We live in a world where there's birth, there's life, there's death, and there's rebirth. That's a cyclical world, and I look out there in my world and I've seen a lot of things change and a lot of things get better. And I've seen them wail on some things, but I've seen a lot of things come back too. And like for us, there's one lake near us called Onamia Lake, and they didn't have wild rice for 17 years, because the water levels were kept artificially high by the non-natives for their recreational boats. 17 years.
Mhm.
And then one year there was a drought, and what came back? The wild rice, 17 years later. Right? And the same thing, I saw that in another lake, 50 years difference, 50 years, they didn't have any rice, and then it came back.
Oh,
Right? So, you know, believe that life wants to be. Do your good prayers, and remember that humans can do good things. And, you know, our job, our work, you know, in this time of, in this time, these epic times, is to do good things. And we also got to do our best to stop bad things. Have some agency. We're North Americans. You know, we're some privileged people in the world. And we have the ability to act with agency. A lot of people don't have the same ability we have. So you want to use your agency in whatever way it is, right? You know, to make, you know, make a difference in the world. So I don't know. I'm pretty you know, I see a lot of cool stuff going on. So
thank you. So how did Ecuador successfully protect the rights of nature, and can this be translated in to the US?
I think Ecuador, the Ecuadorian government is more enlightened and less corporate, you know, controlled. But I'm looking at like all kinds of mechanisms to change, you know, to, you know, I'm looking at all kinds of mechanisms and ways. You know, a lot of the work that I'm looking at now is you know, the rights of the river. And I know some people have talked about the rights of the salmon. I know the river's alive. So we'll see as legal systems change and move forward, you know.
Thank you. Someone here wants to get your take on the current electoral politics.
You know, I'm pretty irritated with everybody out there. You know, of course, I was a Bernie supporter the last round, and Ralph supported many times before. So, you know, obviously, the Biden administration has a lot of challenges, but that's, you know, I mean, I'm just saying people should get themselves out to vote. And we need to keep building candidates and a base of people that actually you want to vote for. That's what we need to do.
Mm.
You know, we have big challenges here in Minnesota, and I'm in the middle of trying to sort out my part in the challenges. It's not a good politic here. You know, the other thing though is that, you know, you keep working on the political realm, get as many people elected, get out the vote, keep pushing. You know, more people voted in the last election than in history, because we really didn't want Trump. And so I would suggest that we do the same thing again. If you don't want Trump or the other guys, you know, you got to get out some votes. But at the same time, you got to change the institutions and change the framework and change the dialogue that put us in this place. So.
Thank you. It's kind of a related question here. Do you see protecting rights of separate parts of nature, like the river, the salmon, et cetera, as more achievable than protecting the overarching label of nature?
I don't know. I don't think the United States is very enlightened. I'm just going to make that a broad statement. Politically, legally, Supreme Court, probably not. Right? So that's why I think that First Nations, tribes, Native nations need to take some leadership in this. And the other thing is, I think we just need to change the institutions. It's not just the legal institutions, it's the economic institutions. It's, you know, go hemp. Go hemp. You know, that's going to change a lot of things. Go hemp and go organic. Drive that economy. It's huge. That's going to transform a lot. Okay, team, I'm going to take another couple questions, but I got to go to an online radio thing here shortly, and I got to go assemble my cool team for that. I don't want to, but I know you probably want to ask a couple more questions, but I just did want to say that I want to start preparing for that, because I'm feeling you're asking me so many hard questions. And then I have to talk about entirely a different subject, which is the trials of Minnesota that we've had, and the recent proposals for a new OSB strand board plant, and how we're fighting them, and yeah. And then we have we're sharing our videos with you. Did you guys see our videos? We have the Down to the River to Pray video. That's getting released today, actually.
That's great.
And but we did share a couple other videos with you, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, and I'll send them out as well in email afterwards. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've covered most of the questions. Ginevra, do you see any more there that we haven't covered yet?
No. I don't-
Yeah.
What is the most important thing? Pray hard and continue on,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Do your best. Continue on. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Stand with people when they go to trial. Stand against corporate evil, political evil,
Yeah.
and make something far more beautiful. We'd rather be doing that anyway, right?
Mhm. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And everything you do to protect the earth and Indigenous rights. It's just really good to hear the raw truth about the issues we're facing. The realities, the metaphors you use is just great. I think hemp is sort of, as I'm listening, becoming a metaphor for, as well as a reality, a real thing you can do and tangibly. But also, about the other paths we can walk towards living in balance that you present. It's just really a breath of fresh air, and I really want to thank you for it. And to everyone in the audience who's come, Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it is a metaphor. I call it the New Green Revolution. I'm really sure. And the thing is that you don't need any more founding fathers. We're done. You need some doulas. That's what you need. We all got to be there. And that's how change is made. There's not like a social change fairy. No one's going to fix this one. That's us. And it's a pretty great spiritual place to be in. The people that have a shot to do something cool. Right?
Yeah, thank you.
Miigwech.
Yes, and you in Abenaki, goodbye. Uli nanana wamazi. Go in good health, everyone. We wish you a safe and healthy Earth Day and every day. So thank you all for joining us. And Winona, thanks so much. What an honor and really a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Happy Earth Day every day.
And you.